Okay, so welcome to the episode about my top mount turbo setup on my 180SX. It's basically been me in the garage, like building up the turbo, because obviously I had a T2871R turbo on there before, and that blew up. So it was totally knackered. The exhaust turbine snapped off the lot. So this video is about I bought a 3K k27 turbo, which is off of a Porsche 911 turbo. It's a twin scroll turbo. I've put that on the car, top mounted it, modified the intercooler piping slightly, new intake. That's basically it. So today I'm going to start making up my screamer pipe and look at making up the flange for the downpipe for my top mount turbo setup. This is the screamer, like just the generic like eBay screamer that I bought, which is like the wrong angle. So I'm going to cut the flange off of it, and it's going to be made a bit straighter, so like down here somewhere, but then the pipe's not going to be long enough to stick out the bottom of the car, because it needs to come out, I don't know whether you can see, but it needs to come out, out the bottom of the wastegate and down to the floor. So I'm going to need to make it longer. Well, I've got my old crappy eBay screamer off my old turbo, and I'm going to just use that old piece of screamer pipe, which is the same diameter as the new one, and just weld an extension onto it. O2 bung, I'm going to have to cut that out because I'm going to need that, because the one that comes on the top mount manifold is this thread with this weird little bung in it, which is no good. So I'm going to cut that out, and the flange here, the 3-bolt flange off the bottom of this elbow, is what is going to make up my new elbow, which will then mate up to my existing downpipe. So that is going to need to be made bigger, because I'm going to use some of this 3-inch stainless pipe that I've got laying around, and it's going to be something like that. So yeah, got to get busy. So I've got that cut off as the extension. Obviously it's not going to be quite that long, but you get the picture. That bit there I've still got to cut down like to the right size, right angle. That's what was on there. That is going to need to be bored out to take a 3-inch pipe, which needs to be taken quite a lot out of to get it to work, but it'll work. So now I've got the screamer like mocked up where it needs to go. It's getting there, just got to weld it up now. So I finally got my screamer sorted for my wastegate after running out of welding wire, after I ran out of welding gas, but it's done. Finito. Weld on that side isn't very good, weld around here isn't very good, but it's functional.
It does a job, doesn't it?
So put a nice little bit extended angle jobby wastegate, shiny. Say hello, Cobbs.
Hello.
Wastegate in the car. Well, lack of turbo.
There's a
Show the old
something should be right about here.
show the old screamer down there.
There you go.
Sweet deal. I've started doing my elbow for my turbo. So this is what I've got going on so far. Obviously 3-bolt flange for my downpipe that I've already got. Still got to weld up around the inside a little bit. But yeah, that's what I've got going on. And I'm going to pie cut this piece of stainless that I've got. It's 3-inch. And I'm going to pie cut it and I'm going to weld it up. It's only with my MIG welder, so it's not going to be anything amazing, but it's going to be better than not having anything at all, which is what I've got at the moment. So a buddy of mine hopefully is going to be able to make me, because my new turbo elbow is 6-bolt, so I need to get him to machine me up a new flange for the back of the turbo. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done this week, and then I'll be able to weld my elbow that I'm making at the minute. The pie cut bit will weld to that, and then this bit will weld to the bottom, and then it'll all bolt up to my car, hopefully. So yeah, we're making progress, finally. Got the pie rings done, like the little pie cuts. Sin at one end, dig at the other. I didn't measure them out properly on the pipe, so they're all a bit weird. This one's alright. This one is obviously squiff. This one is obviously squiff. And the two in there, one of them's straight and the other one's squiff. I'm going to tack these together just quick, and then I'm just going to have to do a bit of fettling with the old grinder just to try and get them fit nicer really. I'm going to have to cut some more off of this, like make some more, because obviously doing a pie cut you need to have the pipe flat and straight like it is now, like this, and then it needs to be pied one way, and then you need to do the other pie so it's flat again, then pie it and then flatten it, pie it, flatten it, so that you end up with them like all evenly spaced. Otherwise they end up like this. Not that one, that one's the right one, flat on one side, cut on the other, but they don't want to end up like that, which is like not flat on one side and curved on the other. Obviously if I was going to try and straighten that out, that'd take me ages and I'd lose a lot of material, so I'm going to try and make this work. I've got my my elbow here, which, yeah, like the welds on it and stuff aren't brilliant, and you know, I pie cutted it with an angle grinder, so obviously pie cutting it with an angle grinder it was never going to be great, and I got some of the measurements like a bit wrong, but it's given me like a 90-degree now that I can work off of, and I'm thinking about putting a flexi in it, because obviously top mount turbo, I don't want any of the stresses going on to the rest of the, you know, from if the exhaust catches on the floor or like going over a speed hump or whatever, it's going to bash the exhaust and like probably end up breaking something. I've got the power steering fluid reservoir off, because hopefully the light's decent in here and you can actually see. This piece here was pointing this way. The power steering fluid reservoir obviously goes on here, and this hose used to come up, like, and it used to cover, you know, like this massive area here. So what I did is I flipped that round, so it points out the other way, and I took this out of, it's got like a little, you know, like a little spike on it that sits in a notch to stop the pipe from turning. Well, I've just taken it out of that, rotated it round and done the bolt back up again, so it's, I mean, it's on there, it's tight, you know, it's not gonna leak or anything. Obviously I've got power steering fluid absolutely fucking everywhere, because it's just, there's no way of draining the power steering fluid system like neatly on these things. So yeah, now the hose goes all the way down the bottom, down there, which means now I've got like endless room, like for the intake to come off the turbo. Still got to do something with the dipstick, and the intercooler pipe here needs shortening, like quite a bit. I don't know, I haven't got a TIG welder, so I can't like shorten it myself, so I'm going to either have to pay someone to shorten it for me, or I'm going to have to just kind of like bodge it with a couple of bits of silicone. I've got like some silicone hose that's the right size, so I might just be able to like shorten it down a bit, but it sits like way too high for where the new outlet of the turbo is going to come. So yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a ball ache. Quite a lot of gibbering going on at the minute, a lot of talking and stuff. Hopefully you can bear with me. I've got to cut out this bung for the lambda sensor. I've got to cut that out and weld that onto this one, and then typical eBay in exhaust manifold down there is another bung, and that bung is for an exhaust, like an exhaust pressure sender, or an exhaust gas temp sender, like for a gauge, or I think you might be able to run like an air fuel ratio like sender out of that as well. But either way, it's totally pointless because it only runs off the 4th cylinder. Well, why? I can't understand myself why anybody would want to run, would want to take a reading off of one specific cylinder. Really, realistically, you want them across all 4 so that you can get a better picture of what's going on. So I'm going to have to cut that out and weld it up, because again, hopefully you'll be able to see this, but where it actually sits, that bung sits right over the top of a stud, and I can't get a nut on it. Cool, so I've got the like all the cutting, all the grinding, all that kind of crap done. Again, the bung for the lambda, the hole in the elbow. Right, so I've just done the welding. Obviously I don't claim to be like any sort of like amazing welder, because I'm not. I'm pretty crap actually, but that's the welds on the little patch that I've just done. It's not, you know, it's not that bad, it's not great. Like I say, my welder doesn't really like welding stainless steel, really. And that's the bung. You know, welds on it are alright. So when you've had a crappy day at work and you get home and this bad boy has turned up, everything gets a bit better. Right, so obviously got the new turbo, but because it's not off of a different car, or it's been on a different car, obviously like the exhaust housing is in like the wrong place for the turbo, and the same with the compressor housing. So I've taken the compressor housing off. That's the compressor housing, and I've also taken, I literally just took the core out of the exhaust housing, but I just gave everything a clean. There's a bit of rust inside the exhaust housing where the turbo's been set up for a while, but basically the whole point of clocking a turbo is getting it so that the when the turbo's mounted, the oil feeds at the top, the oil drains at the bottom, and they have to be like perfect, because obviously the oil drain is gravity fed, and if it's poking off to the side then it's not going to work. And the same with the compressor housing. Like the compressor housing, obviously it's going to be sat in the engine bay. It would have been pointing up like this, but obviously I can't have that. It needs to be pointing down like this, you know, over here, whatever. So I just chucked the turbo on the manifold quick. As you can see, I've like mounted it on there. There's literally like 1/2 mil between the plug for the ignition amplifier and the actual turbo exhaust housing. So obviously I'm going to have to sort something out with that ignition amplifier, because it can't sit there. It's going to have to be moved somewhere else. The bubble on the spirit level that I've just chucked on the top of the oil feed is like bang in the middle now, so I know that that's like centered, and now when it's on the car I'll just be able to do the bolts up. Hopefully it doesn't move too much and I know it's in the right place. I've got the turbo in the right place now. This is where I'm at the moment. It's bolted up, and this is where my intake is. I don't really like that filter though. This turbo's only oil, and obviously SRs run water lines to the turbos like factory. So I'm just gonna, I've already got braided lines, so I'm just gonna loop the hose, like the braided hose that I've got. I'm gonna loop that straight out of the block into the back into the coolant neck, which is like down this one here. Hopefully you can see that one there that goes into the coolant neck. That is going to go straight into the block on the water outlet, so it will totally like bypass, you know, the turbo. I've still got to drill a hole in the compressor housing to put a little fitting in for the obviously for the boost pressure to go to the wastegate, and for the boost controller. So that's still on my to-do list. I've still got to move the ignition amplifier here, which I'm going to extend the wires on this plug and move the ignition amplifier around to this side, like on here somewhere. Manifold's on there for good now, wastegate's on there for good, so it is finally starting to get somewhere. So I had to put a little brass fitting in the compressor housing on the turbo, which is this bad boy here. I like tucked it out of the way so that I wasn't going to knock it and snap fucker off, because that was probably inevitable. So I've had to take the turbo off again for like the millionth time, and now I'm just about to put it back on again. Not for the last time, because I still ain't got a turbo gasket.
Wow.
It's going well when it cobs.
Yeah, steady progress.
Right, so it's a Friday. For the first time in like weeks, today has actually been like dry and the sun has managed to stay out, which is pretty cool. And I'm just on my way to go and pick up a load of parts. Well, I say parts, more like just miscellaneous crap really. So while I was out running my errands, I decided to go get myself a haircut. I'm going to my buddy Phil's workshop now. Say hello, Phil.
You alright?
The YouTube channel.
Oh god.
See that shit there. Sweet, so I just got back from Phil's place. This is basically where I'm at with the car at the moment. Turbo's like just sat on there with a bolt in it. I got a new air filter because I didn't like my mushroom air filter, so I've gone up with a cone ram air foam filter. The oil feed like sat horrible. It come out like a right angle, like a 90 degree, and it was crap. So I bent it over in the vise, put it on there. It's not like kinked the pipe or anything, which is pretty good. So that's fine. I sort of sat my downpipe in there. Don't know if you can see that. Sat my downpipe in there, just see what it was going to go like with the flexi and everything. Wastegate's all plumbed in. So that's where I'm at the moment. I went literally, like I said, I just got back from Phil, so I've just got a load of crap basically, like all the bits that I need to like get the car running again, which is all here. So I've got brake and clutch cleaner because it's good and I ran out, and I need to there's a little bit of oil on the hot side of the intercooler, so I've got to obviously get rid of that, so brake and clutch cleaner will be perfect. This is my flange, which Phil had water cut out of a piece of 306 stainless, and then he just like lathed over the end, because that's obviously going to make, made it shiny, because that's the edge that's obviously going to be on show. So yeah, that's that for the 6-bolt flange. Then I picked up just some M10 normal nuts washers, M10 by 1.25mm pitch nuts, which is for the exhaust manifold. Some lock washers, which is for the turbo flange. I got a couple of bolts for my fuel pressure regulator, so that they're going to be hex headed rather than being the crappy screwdriver ones that you can never get off. So that'll be good. I've got some hose clips for one of the power steering lines that run from the reservoir, 2 hose clips for the intercooler, some welding gas. I only buy the little bottles because I'm cheap, even though it works out more expensive. I got some crappy oil, like literally crappy oil, 1040 semi-synthetic, which is literally going to run in the car for about 5 minutes just to like clear the crap out. And then I got some Mobil One 1060. Like they claim it's motorsport oil. I've heard like good things about it, but it's basically going to be run on that up until the dyno. I got some this cool like heat shielding stuff, which is like fiberglass on the inside, and then it's got this rubber coating on the outside, which is going to be for my oil line to the my breather line to the catch tank, because that runs over the top of the turbo and I don't want to fry it. That's the line that I was missing for the power steering, 2 oil filters, and the 63 to 70mm elbow for the compressor housing. Say hello, Cobbs.
Hello, Cobbs.
So today at TeamHanginLoose HQ, normally I'm the one that's running around like a blue ass fly, fixing everyone else's fucking cars, but today, Mike and Dan have come round, and Daniel's on the fucking floor changing my oil. Wait, Cobbs. This is Mr. Gigolo.
I'm not a gigolo.
You might as well be. The only difference is the women don't pay him.
Hey.
So today, Dan's changing my oil on my car because I would have done it, but they're here and they're doing fuck all, so that's pretty good. And my elbow is sat with a flange that I picked up from Phil yesterday on a cooker, heating up so I can actually weld it. Not advised to MIG weld this shit, but needs must. So everything's turned into a total shit show around here. Isn't it, Dan?
Fucking listens.
We got the turbo one, I finished everything else off. Finished the elbow, put the flexi in it, all that crap. Turned the car over to see if it had oil pressure, and it had no oil pressure. No oil coming out the turbo feed line. So now we're trying to work out why the fucking hellfire it's got no oil pressure. And I'm not really amused at the moment. It ran again. It ran again and we're getting pizza, so I suppose there's something to smile about. So it's now Sunday. Last night, me, Dan and Mike were like spending ages on the car because we weren't getting any oil pressure. there was no oil coming out the oil feed line for the turbo, and we were just like cranking it over just to try and get some oil pressure. So obviously yesterday we changed the oil, changed the filters, and after about an hour and a half of like messing around with it and taking off the lines of the oil cooler and stuff to try and work out what the hell was going on, we were getting oil to the filter housing, but we weren't getting anything past that. So obviously that made me think that there was something wrong with the filter housing. So we took the filter housing off, took the oil filter off, only to find out that the filters that I bought yesterday have actually got like a baffle inside them, which means that they only work one way. So the oil filters up from the outside and drains through the middle. Well, the filter that I had on there previous didn't have a baffle in it, but the lines were on the wrong way around on the oil housing, and my old filter, it was feeding oil up from the bottom, and then it was draining down the outside of the filter and carrying on back around the system, meaning that before I didn't actually have that greater oil pressure. Today I'm just going to be finishing everything off, basically heat wrapping the elbow and sorting this injector problem out, trying to get the car to like run and idle nice so that I can at least pull it out of the garage and take it for a little drive. This is where I'm at the moment, like with the engine bay. I pulled the plugs last night, which are up there. Pulled the plugs last night so I could do a compression test. Compression test came back saying that all 4 cylinders were all at 10 bar, which is normal for an SR. Everything is like on now, filters on, all the intercooler piping's done. I've got a little bit of a leak here from the power steering, but I'll have a look at that. I just got to put this bit of this heat shield and stuff over the oil line that comes to the breather here, and that's pretty much it. So I've woken up a bit now. Cobbs is here.
Yo.
Say hello, Cobbs.
Hello, Cobbs.
We've got about 12 of these in this video. Hello, Cobbs. So after last night when I started it and it ran like stupidly rich and it was like idling like crap and trying to choke itself and die, I've finally got round to like having a little look on the Power FC, adjusted some of the injector settings to what they're actually meant to be, and now it like runs smooth again, idle smooth again. So finish the oil breather off, drain this crappy oil out and put some good in, change the oil filter, and then hopefully I'll be able to go for a drive this afternoon and it's not going to die on me.
Right, first maiden voyage after he's done the turbo on it. Don't forget about the block. Oh yeah, Dan's got the blocks. Out in the daylight.
So Saturday night we obviously had the problems with the oil, that we had no oil pressure. That was down to the oil filter, that got rectified. Then we got the car running, took it out for a drive and all the rest of it on Sunday evening, but the car didn't feel very good. Like it just didn't like picking up through the rev range very nicely. It wasn't driving very smooth, wasn't coming on boost properly, the wastegate wasn't opening and it was over boosting, which is not good news. So anyway, I got it back last night. With Mike, we put it in the garage, found out that the solenoid on the boost controller was actually set up the wrong way round. One of the ports was
was in the wrong place basically. So we like changed that over. I swapped the cam angle sensor just in case it was a cam angle sensor, because I had a spare one anyway that I knew worked, and I had a little play around with the throttle position sensor, because I thought maybe, you know, throttle position's not being sensed right by the ECU, and that's why it's not picking up power, you know, properly, and it was idling a bit off still. So anyway, I've done that today, changed that today, took the car up the road to get some fuel in it. Yeah, so I'm chuffed to nuts really. I mean, it's still running rich, but at least I've sorted out these baby issues before the dyno. Hope you enjoyed the video on my top mount turbo setup. Obviously the next video that will be up, about my car anyway, will be it getting mapped, which is going to be on the 17th of March, and then on the 30th we go to a drift day at Santa Pod Raceway. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did like it, then please give it a like, because it's nice to see that people have actually, you know, watched the video and they've liked the video. And if you want to give it a subscribe, if anyone's new and you haven't watched our channel before, then watch our previous videos and give us a subscribe. Show us some love. And if you want to leave a comment, then leave a comment, because it's quite nice to get some feedback and know what we're doing is good or bad, or, you know, where we could improve, what kind of stuff that you guys want to see. So if you guys have stuck it around to the end, thank you very, very much for actually watching the video. I know that sometimes stuff like this can be a bit boring and it can go on and on, but the end result was well worth it, and it's just a little video just to show you guys, you know, like the process that I had to go through to get my stuff done. Fair enough, like, you know, I'm pretty new to the whole YouTube thing, so there's a few pieces that I've missed out. There's stuff that I wanted to record that I never did get around to recording. So stay tuned for the dyno video and the drift event video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.